Okay, good morning to all of you. So previously we have discussed about the layers, that is the physical, data link and network layer. Today we are going to discuss about the next layer, that is transport layer. So today's topic of discussion is about transport layer. Just a minute. So today topic of discussion is our transport layer, right? So talking about this transport layer, we have seen always that the message or the information is coming from its previous layer. So till now in physical, data link and network layer, in all these particular layers, we have achieved our message from its previous layers, right? Now, in this transport layer, what actually is the role and responsibility of transport layer is that to deliver a message from one process to another process. So transport layer is communicating or is working as a transport medium. So a medium is set up, and by that particular medium, the transport layer is actually organized that so that the message or the information can transport from one process to another process. So that is a basic role of transport layer. So what are the scenario happens in transport layer is that first one, transport layer here also the message, first it will get the message, the transport layer, it will get the message from its previous layer. Okay, so it will first get the message from the last one, that is the application layer. So the message is actually getting into the application layer. So it gets the message, the transport layer is getting the message from where? From application layer, right? So the transport layer is getting its message from its application layer. Second work that is done by the transport layer is to encapsulate the message. So encapsulating, we will talk about what is encapsulate, and there is decapsulating also. So encapsulate the message into packets. So encapsulate the message into packets, or we can say datagram. So this message, whatever the message or information we are getting from its application layer, the message is bind into a particular packet or into the datagram. So that is the second role of transport layer, that is encapsulate the message into packets and datagram. And third one, it is the role, a basic role. Third one is that the message needs to transfer to the to next layer, that is it will send the message, or we can say better, it is the packets to the next layer. Okay, so next layer means the network layer. So transport layer, the basic things that it will get the message from the application layer, encapsulate the message into the packets and datagram, and sends the message to its next layer, that is that network layer. So these are the three basic roles of transport layer we can talk about. Now, talking about this transport layer, in each particular layer, actually, some protocols are actually working. So similar here in transport layer also, some protocols are actually defined. The basic protocols in transport layer that works here, that is protocols we can talk about. That is the first one is that TCP. Okay, TCP. Second one is UDP. TCP, second one is that UDP, and third one we can talk about that HCTP. Third one we can talk about that is HCTP. So these are the three protocols: a TCP, UDP, and HCTP. These are the three protocols that work under this particular transport layer. Now, what is the name? First we would like to know the names of this. So TCP, what is the full form of TCP? Can anyone tell me what is the full form of TCP? Full form of TCP, anyone?
Transmission control
Transmission
protocol.
control protocol.
Transmission control protocol. So the full form of TCP is transmission control protocol, right? Now coming to the next second one. Second one, UDP. The full form of UDP?
Sir,
User
user data.
datagram protocol.
Right? Absolutely. User datagram protocol. Right? And third one is HTTP. What is the full form of HTTP? So TCP and UDP, you have heard the term previously and it is familiar to you at some particular moment. So that's why it is easier to name this. So TCP and UDP, that is transmission control protocol, and UDP is user datagram protocol. Now the third one, maybe it is new to you people, that is SCTP, that is called stream control transmission protocol. Stream control transmission protocol. So these are the three protocols that works basically in the transport layer: TCP, UDP, and HTTP. Transmission control protocol, user datagram protocol, and stream control transmission protocol. Now, coming one by one of this particular protocol, first one we would like to talk about TCP. So what is the role and what is this particular TCP? We will like to know. So TCP, that is a transmission control protocol. So this TCP, we can say, first of all, this TCP, we will property, if we're talking about the one property for TCP, that is, it is a very reliable protocol. Very reliable protocol. Right. Now, my question is here that I am saying that TCP is a very reliable protocol. When we can say a protocol is reliable, in which type of connection we can say that a connection is reliable? In which type of connection we can say that it is a reliable protocol? Okay, let me give you some hint. That is whether if the connection is a wired connection or if the connection is a wireless connection, in which particular type of connection we can say it is a reliable protocol?
Wired.
Wired protocol. Anyone else? Anyone, anything wants to say? So talking this very reliable protocol, we are saying this TCP is a very reliable protocol. So one thing we can assure here that this is a connection oriented protocol. This is a connection oriented protocol. So TCP is a connection oriented protocol. That's why it is a very reliable protocol. So a wired medium connection is there. So that's why the data transfer or the message transferring is very much reliable or trustworthy. So this is that why TCP is a connection oriented reliable protocol, we can say. So what happened here? What happened when the connection by the TCP is going on? That the communication between the sender and the receiver for the data transmission is established first. So what happened here? That a communication between sender and the receiver is set up first. Okay, so I have told you people many times that how this happens, how this communication between sender and receiver is set up. So can anyone tell me that how a communication between sender and receiver is set up via wired or wireless, whatever the medium? So how the setup was done? What is the basic process before the transmission gets started? What is the process or how the communication is set up? Can anyone tell me? I have told you people many times this. How a connection between sender and receiver gets started or gets set up before the transmission started. Anyone? Okay. So I hope that you people have forgot it. So let me remind you people again that when sender are trying to send anything to the receiver, the data is going to transmit. Before that, sender sends a random packet, a basic packet to the receiver side for the acknowledgement purpose. So sender is sending some packets, not the message or not the information, some setup request. Sender is sending some setup request to the receiver side. So what happened? First, sender will send that particular. Okay. So if I am talking about that, suppose this is my sender, okay, device 1, and there is my device 2. In between that, the things is need to be carry on, the data needs to be carried on, right? So D1 and D2. First, what will happen in between D1 and D2? So D1 and D2, what is going on actually? This D1 and D2, some sort of send the actually. Wait a minute. So the between the where the connection is going to set up between D1 and D2, that D1 will send a request message. D1 will send a request message to the D2 devices. So D1 will a request. D1 will send a request to D2. D1 will send a request to D2, right? So D2 is getting a request message from D1. So next what will happen, that D2, if D2 is free, so D2 is available to set up a communication with D1. So D2 will acknowledge that particular request. D2 will acknowledge the request to D1 again. So till the time D1 is sending a request message to D2, and the time D2 will acknowledge it to D1 again, till that time the transmission of the data will not start it. First, the process is going to set up between D1 and D2 via this request acknowledgement process. Request acknowledgement process, and then only if if D2 acknowledge to D1, then the transmission medium is ready to transmit the data. So this TCP is establishing a data, and then the process is going to start, then the data transfer is going to start. Now this TCP has three basic property that will help, or that is actually needed for the data transfer or data transmission, right? What are the three things we can talk about? That is, first one, flow control. First one is flow control, second one is error control, and third one is traffic congestion. These three things, flow control, error control, and traffic congestion, these three particular things are included in TCP. So that's why we can also say that TCP is a reliable connection oriented protocol. So TCP will control the flow of the data. TCP will control the flow of the data from the sender to the receiver. And if any particular time, as it is a connection oriented protocol, so it is actually using a wire medium. So if at any point there is an error, then this TCP will check the error. TCP will try to solve the error. TCP will have to solve the error so that the data can reach to the receiver in its originality. And traffic congestion, so before the connection is set up, it will check that what are the possible paths available between D1 and D2, and which one have the less traffic congestion, so that we can use that particular path, so the data can travel from sender to receiver in a minimum time. So these are the three basic properties of TCP: flow control, error control, and traffic congestion control is used in TCP protocol. Second one we can talk about here, that is UDP. Second one we can talk about, that is UDP. So UDP is that user datagram protocol. Now TCP is a reliable protocol. It is a connection oriented protocol. So UDP is reverse to that. UDP is an unreliable protocol. UDP is an unreliable protocol. So means UDP is what type of connection? We can say what type of connection is UDP?
Wireless.
Wireless protocol. So UDP is an wireless, or we can say connectionless protocol, or as it is an unreliable protocol, so we can say it is an connectionless. So UDP is connectionless, and So that's why it is unreliable. And like TCP, the TCP has a flow control, error control, congestion control, this type of properties in it. UDP don't have any kind of this. So UDP, while we are sending any data through the UDP or using some UDP mode, we cannot control any type of flow, any type of data flow, any type of error. We cannot find out the error. We cannot have a traffic congestion control. So it will totally a connectionless, and it will totally based on the intermediate devices, the routers, the hubs, switches, this type of devices. So that's why it don't have any kind of properties like TCP. It don't have any kind of properties like TCP. Right? So this UDP, unreliable protocol, connectionless, and it don't have any kind of properties like TCP. But still it is suitable, and we use this UDP protocol as it is for suitable. It is very much suitable for the application program that needs to send very short messages and don't need any type of retransmission while we are actually think. So that's our WhatsApp messages or Facebook Messenger messages, Instagram, this type of data is actually using this UDP protocol, where sending very short type of data to a particular person. So we are very sure what we are actually sending, and don't need any type of rechecking actually. So this is actually using by this UDP protocol. And what happened in UDP, as it is an wireless protocol, wireless mode is actually used here. So the packets are flowing separately. The total message, what is the packet? The total message is broken into the pieces of code or pieces of block of the messages, and that blocks are called as packets. So the packets can transfer, packets can move to the receiver side by its own path, choosing its own path separately and independently. Third one, that is the SCTP. We are talking about that stream control transmission protocol. SCTP, it is actually a basic protocol have used, or new type of protocol have evolved here, that provides supports for the newer applications such as voice and audio over the internet. So as voice and video, audio, these type of things are need a streamline, need a continuous stream of the data. So that's why we need some type of protocol that can handle this, that can support that particular thing, particular property over the internet. And HTTP is that particular type of protocol that supports us, that helps the user to send the audio, video to the receiver side with a proper transmission, with a proper continuous flow of transmission without any type of delay or error. Because if any type of delay or error is there, then it cannot be streamed properly. The message or the audio and the video will not send properly. So that's why HTTP is a stream control transmission protocol that help us to send the audio and video over the internet. And this is a combination of the properties of both TCP and UDP. So the TCP UDP is both are indulged, or both are included here with the best features of TCP and UDP. So the best features, like the features are available in TCP, like flow control, error control, congestion control, and UDP just a short message, short time. This type of the data can transfer separately. So whatever the things, what is the suitable for the path, that is sent via this SCTP, that is stream control transmission protocol. These are the basics of transport layer. Any doubts up to this particular part? Now, moving to the last layer, I'm deleting all the things here. Just a minute. Now, the last layer here that is needed, that is very important, that is the application layer. So application layer, here what happened, the message information from the sender side that is need to be transferred is actually generated here, or is actually starting from this particular layer. So finally, now we are in that particular stage where we are actually generate the message with the message that is going to be transferred. And this particular application layer, we can say it is the communication between the sender and the receiver. The message that is going to transfer through the process of the communication. So the process sends the request to the process and receive response. All the things are done here in this particular application layer. So in this application layer, we can say that it is very basic, that the data is actually generated here, the message is generated here, and it is actually responsible also for the proper transmission of the data, right? Now, this application layer actually, process to process communication is one of the most important role of application layer. Process to process communication. So each process means the sender and the receiver is actually processing each other. So this is the most important part, that is the process to process communication is application, is the main role of this application layer. So we can say that process to process communication. Process to process communication is the important part of this application layer. Now, these application layer are totally based on the client and the server, means the servers and clients are included here. So clients are sending the message, so the server is there. So what is the important thing that includes the functions in the application layer? There are some functions is included. So what are the function that is included in the application layer? First function we can talk about identifying communication partners. Identifying communication partner. So this is the first function is included in the process of application layer, that is identifying the communication partners. Identifying communication partner means that it will identify that only the sender knows that to whose particular person who is the actual receiver. So to identify the partner means the sender and the receiver, this is called a pair of partners. So this application layer identifies the partners for the application data to transmit. So to whom the data is actually needed to transmit, it is decided in the application layer. So in the later stages, that is the network layer or the transport layer or the data link layer, whatever the processes are going on, means in the network layer, we can talk about that the packets are binded with the IP address of the receiver and the port number, all the things are included. So from where this IP and the port number are coming, so it is already decided in the application layer that to whom we want to share our data. So identifying the partner or to know the partner, know the receiver is the first function in the application layer, right? Second one, resources, resource availability. So resource availability means we are trying to share the data, but to share the data, all the intermediate processes, means from the sender side to the receiver side, when the data is going to transmit it, the intermediate processes are called the resource availability, means the whatever the devices, if it is a connectionless, then what are the devices are there in intermediate part. If it is a wired connection, then the bandwidth, the path, the transmission medium, all the things. So these are the resource availability, how much resources are available with us to share the data from the sender side to the receiver side, whether the resource, whether the data availability of the resources are efficient or the sufficient enough, so that we can process the communication, we can request the communication, we can set up the communication. So determining or checking the availability of the resources is one of the important part of this application layer. Third one, we can talk about synchronizing communication. So the process synchronize. Synchronizing communication So this is the process. The first sender, the receivers, all the process, the communication needs to synchronized. Why? Because if the things are not synchronized, then it is important for transferring the data. It is very much important to transfer the data between the synchronization, or the synchronization is needed for transferring the data. So these are the three basic function of application layer, or a very important function of application layers. Now in this application layer, there are some services we can talk about, that is the network virtual terminal, file transfer, access and the management, addressing, mail services, directory services. All the things comes under the part of this network. All the things comes under the part of this application layer. So this application layer has this type of services because all the things are totally depending from the initial stages. So application layer is the initial stage from where the data is going to transmit, or the process, or the option by which we are transferring the data. So this application layer is actually following a very basic architecture. This application layer is following very basic architecture, that is the client server architecture. So this application layer is actually following client server architecture in the process. So the totally depending on the client server architecture. Now what is this client server architecture? The local machine, the local device from where the data is going to transmit is called, or the from where the program is actually running is called the client. So this client is, which client is the local machine. Client means the local device from where it is initiated, and server, so client have initiated the process, and then it will be reached to a particular mode from where the web things will be worked. So client has the device, and then the data is going to first to local ISP or local server. So this is called the server, from where the total path establishes the communication with the other devices, the other network path, all the things are synchronized, and that is called the server. So that's why client will send the data to the server, and then the server will process furthermore. Because because it is not possible when we are sending the data, it will be in another particular LAN, right? So if it is in a normal LAN, then it also will flow, it will go in this particular flow. Why? Because it will first go to the local ISP, local server, and then the server have the total IP address of the sender and the receiver. So the server will look for the sender receiver IP address to whom we need to send the data. Then it will communicate with each server, the receiver server, and the path and the system or the communication will be set up. So client server architecture is followed in the application layer. So this is the basic of the server and the application layer. So these are the 5 layers we are talking about. We have gone through, we have described each of the layers in with the most of the things. Still, if anything is down, anything you need to know, you can tell me or ask me, because in the later but also there will be some discussion on the layers, or some topics are there also for the layer. So first we have now a concept of the basics of each of the layer. What is the role and responsibilities of each layer, right? Now moving to the next part, I have used the term few moments earlier, that is encapsulation. So I have used the term in transport layer, that where I have used the term encapsulation. So what is this particular encapsulation? What is the topic encapsulation? So this encapsulation you have studied previously, you have heard the term previously in Java, I hope, because in Java this term was there, that the term encapsulation. So can anyone tell me what is encapsulation in your knowledge? What is encapsulation?
So hiding unnecessary
Fine.
data.
Okay, so hiding unnecessary data from the user, means the local user who are actually using the processes. That is the term encapsulation means. So that encapsulation is actually included in the network area. So what is the role of encapsulation here? That is, the message is generated, the message or the information or the thing is ready for the transfer. But the message, to deliver the message from the sender side to the receiver side, there are many more things that needs to attached with the data, with the message, so that the message can reach to the receiver side properly. So the process of adding this particular information, the additional information, when the data is actually traveling, that is the process called encapsulation. So this encapsulation, we can say, is the process of adding the additional information into the message or the data while it is traveling from the sender side to the receiver side. So can anyone tell me that what are the additional information that is going to be added with this original data or the message? What can be the additional information? What are the additional information?
IP address,
IP address. Okay, fine. Next.
MAC address,
Okay. Anyone else? Anything? Okay. So the address means the IP address, MAC address, the port number means IP address, MAC address are okay, but still we have a port number of each devices where the network is connected with which particular port. These are the additional information that needs to be encapsulated into the original data or the message. Now, if we talk for the process of the encapsulation, so from starting from the application layer till the data is going to reach to the what is the first basic layer we can talk about? I think that is the physical layer. So till the time when the message is generated from the application and it is reaching to the physical layer, in this total path, the communication, each layer, some things are added. Now we have started from the physical layer, right? If I go back, we have started to discuss from the physical layer and we have come to the end with the application layer. Now reverse the process. The message is started from which application layer and it will going to transfer to other side through the physical layer, right? So generating the message from the application layer until the time it is reaching to the physical layer, many things are in the processes. So what are the things that is in the process? That is, first, the application layer is generating the messages. So when the message is generated in the application layer, message is generated in application layer, right? But when the message is generated in the application layer, it does not have any header files, does not have any, I would like to add payload, not header file. So does not have any type of payload. So this payload means actually the information or the additional information that is attached with the original message. So now the application layer will be moving to the transport layer, then the network layer, then the data link layer, then the physical layer, right? So this transport layer, when the message is generated from the application and then it is added into the transport layer, so transport layer will add some payload, add some headers that will contain the address or the IP address of the source and destination. That means the sender and the receiver information that needs to be added, like flow control, error control, congestion control. If it is TCP, then it is called a segment or the package. If it is UDP, then it is a datagram. So then it is sent it to the network layer. Then it is add some more payloads that will contain, that will check the fragmentation. So these are the additional information that is attached with the original message. So this process, the total process into the from the application to the physical layer, the payloads, the additional information that are attached with the original message is called the process of encapsulation. Now, similarly, like encapsulation, there is another term that is called decapsulation. That is called decapsulation. So the encapsulation is attaching the additional information with the original message. Then what is decapsulation?
Detaching the additional information.
So encapsulation is happening in which side? We can say that encapsulation is happening in sender side, right? So decapsulation will happen in which side? Receiver side. So encapsulation is happening in sender side, so decapsulation will happen in receiver side. So encapsulation is attaching the additional information into the original message. So when the message will reach to the destination side, the receiver side, in each layer, starting from the physical layer to the application layer, the additional information is going to detach. The additional will be information will be removed from the original message in each layer, and till the time it will reach from the physical to the application layer. The application layer in the receiver side will only have the original message, not any kind of additional information. Just like in encapsulation, in application layer of the sender side, it is have the original message. Then similarly in the receiver side, the application layer receiver side will only have the original message. So from the physical layer, when the message is received in the physical layer, then going up by up, data link layer, transport layer, network layer, in each layer, the information, the additional payload information will going to remove in each layer, and to the application layer of the receiver side, it will only have the original message. So this is the process of encapsulation and decapsulation. Okay, so this is the topic up to today we are going to discuss, because the time is end and it will going to disconnect anytime. So if any question is in your mind, so we will discuss it in next classes, because it is the time is end. So I have no time to take the question now. So we will discuss it in tomorrow class while we have this class again. Okay, so hope you have all write your names in the chat box. So thank you all for joining into the session, and take care.
Thank you, sir.